Upon these solemn mutual promises, I now bestow you today, the Reverend John Vogel and your wife Erin, as pastor and pastor's wife of the Columbia Station New Life Wesleyan Church, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Pastor John,
Did you ever know any all or nothing people? You know what I'm talking about. Whenever you want to do something, it's all in, or we're not going to do it at all. Like, I could stand to get in a little better shape, right? But just don't get me near the all or nothing people, because this is how it goes. I remember one point in my life, I said, I want to get in a little better shape and start exercising. And my buddy goes, yeah, you got to try this new thing. It's called P90X. I'm like, well, what is that? Well, first of all, it was on like a videotape, so that's how old it is. But it's this thing, and if you do P90X, he's like, yeah, it's great. It's real hard. I think they used it in the military. And if you do all the workouts the way you're supposed to, he's like, I threw up in the second one, and it was so hard. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to last very long in that. That is all or nothing. If you're going to exercise at all, you might as well jump in and do P90X. That's not for me. Maybe we can start just a little bit smaller. Or I thought the other day I could stand to use some push-ups and some sit-ups. What if somebody tells me, yeah, you got to start every night, do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups, and you've never done any before? How do you think that's going to go for you? What's probably going to happen is I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm all excited about this, and you do it, and then after a couple of days, you don't do it anymore because you realize you can't do that. And so you just get disheartened and you stop. That's the way it goes. What if somebody says, I want to run a little bit, but they're like, yeah, 2 miles a day is a good amount, just run 2 miles a day. And I'm like, I don't like running at all. Maybe I can just start with running to the mailbox and back. I don't know if I'm going to make that. Just a little bit more is what I need to exercise right now to start. You got to start somewhere, right? It happens when you want to get healthy and eat healthy, right? People do the same thing. Like, what if they come up to me right now and said, John, I know you want to be healthy. The first thing you need to do is never go to Buffalo Wild Wings again. I don't know about that. Maybe I shouldn't go 2, 3, 4 times a week, right? That'd be a good place to start. Maybe once a week if I take my family, not by yourself though, because that's like a habit or something, I don't know. It wouldn't work. I would say, well, then I'm off this healthy thing if that's what it takes. What if they said you can't have any Mountain Dew ever? I don't know if I'm going to make it. Now, if you said maybe you should only have one a day, I'd probably agree with you. And maybe I could stick to that. Maybe that's something I can do. I know occasionally now I'll want to eat a salad. I don't know if want is the right word, but I agree that eating a salad is a pretty good thing. That if you have a salad a day, it's probably not bad. Well, there's been people in my life that you'll go and you get your salad, and you're like, I'm trying to eat a little healthier. Look, I got a salad and everything. I'm like, yeah, but that dressing is so bad. If you have that dressing, it's like not even having a salad at all. What do you think's going to happen? Then I'm never going to eat salad again. A little bit helps. I probably should eat like at least a piece of fruit a day, right? Like occasionally I'll point it out. I was really hungry today and I had a banana. And it's like I'm proud of myself. And they're like, did you know you're supposed to have 2 to 5 servings of fruit every day? I was like, I just had a banana, just congratulate me. I don't think I'm ready for 2 to 5 servings of fruit yet. But just a little bit more than I have right now is probably a good thing. See, a lot of times, all or nothing doesn't work for people. It's like if you say we're going to start and you're going to try to get here like in the first day, it just doesn't work. So here's my question. I've just kind of proved, not scientific proof, that doesn't work for most people. Why do we do it with God? Why do we decide, I should probably be a little closer to God, I should probably do a few things. And then we immediately jump into, well, there's church on Sunday, sometimes there's stuff on Sunday night, and on Wednesday we have this, and then there's this Bible study that meets Thursday morning, and then you should have your quiet time at least 15 minutes every day, and if you tell people that, how do you think it's going to go? Why do we do that with God? The answer: start with a little bit. I want to give away the point of today, but that's it. Start with a little bit. Just a little bit. We're going to read in the book of John this morning a little bit. Just a little bit. And if you find your pew Bible, if you want to look in there, it's in the new part. There's the old part and the new part, and it's on page 82 in the pew Bible. It's John chapter 3, verses 25 through 30. Oh, look, I got it up there. Good. All right, in John chapter 3, verses 25 through 30, this is what it says. Now a discussion about purification arose between John's disciples and a Jew. They came to John and said to him, Rabbi, the one who is with you across the Jordan, to whom you testified, here he is baptizing, and all are going to him. John answered, no one can receive anything except that has been given from heaven. You yourselves are my witnesses that I said, I am not the Messiah, but I have been sent ahead of him. He who has the bride is the bridegroom. The friend of the bridegroom who stands and hears him rejoices greatly at the bridegroom's voice. For this reason my joy has been fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. He must increase, but I must decrease. So I look at this and I read about it, and it talks about the wedding. Most people have been to a wedding, right? And you know how it works. You're sitting there like you are. There could be a wedding here, and you're waiting, and then some music starts. Everybody stands up, they turn around, they look at the doors, and they're waiting, right? You're waiting for the bride. Here comes the bride. We're here the guests. We're just watching, but we're waiting for her too. And so we get up, we stand around, and we look, and we wait. Here she comes. Now, she's not here for us, right? You're just sitting there. She's not there for you. But you share in the excitement because here she comes through the doors. Now, it could be different. Maybe you're in the wedding party. Maybe you're standing up here. Maybe you're one of the groomsmen. Maybe you're the best man standing right next to the groom. Now, you're doing the same thing. You're waiting up here, and you hear the music, and you're starting to get excited. You know, oh, here she comes. You look at the doors, and there she is, and she starts walking, and your face is even getting bright because here's your best bud standing next to you, and you're like, wow, look at that. Here she comes. And now, here's the weird thing. If you're up here, she's like walking right towards you too, right? I'm the best man. Here she is. But she's not here for me. But I'm excited. I might be a little more excited than those people out there because I'm staying here next to my bud. And she's walking right at me. But when she gets right up here, I don't say, out of the way, buddy, she's mine. Like, I'm excited for my friend, I'm excited for her. But it's for my friend. So all the work I put in, all the excitement I have, all the things to help him get ready for this day, we do all this. I played my part in it, and now here it is, and it's the groom's turn, right? It's time for me to step aside. It may look like it's more for me than for you, but it's not. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how excited I am. It's not for me. The bride came for the groom, for the bridegroom. He must increase. I must decrease. We share in the excitement together. But it's my time to step aside. This John the Baptist guy, Jesus himself said, truly I tell you, among those born of women, no one has arisen greater than John the Baptist. It says that in Matthew 11:11. In other words, in the world at that time, for that religion, John the Baptist was it. People went to him. He baptized people. They looked to him for advice. He did everything. There was no one greater born among men than John the Baptist. But here's his friends beside him, telling him, hey, you're the man. There's people going to that other guy. There's people going to that Jesus guy. He's actually baptizing them. And then he's teaching them, and they're sitting there and listening. They're not coming to you anymore. They're coming to him. They're like concerned. And here's John. He's not mad. He's not bitter. He's not jealous. He's not envious. There's not even a hint of sadness that he's not the man anymore. He says, my joy is now complete. I was here beside you. I helped you prepare. I did all this stuff to get ready. Now it's your turn. Now it's his turn, is what he's telling his friends. All my work, everything I have done is to get ready for him. And here he is. Here he is. I was to point to him. Now he must increase, and I must decrease. I think he handled it brilliantly. I mean, I know it's a book and it already happened. And you can say, well, of course, that's how the story ends. But he was it on earth. People look to him every day. And I'm going to tell you, it's not always that easy. It's not always that easy to change your way of life, because the way of life was, look to John the Baptist. He will baptize you. He will tell you the words you need to hear. That's what his friends are thinking. And now you're telling me it's not like that anymore? Here's this other guy, and people are going to go to him. It's not that easy. You have to change the way you think, to change what you feel like is home, the world we live in. Everything changes. Of course, the advice is a little bit at a time helps. You got to jump into this and he's saying, listen, I'm excited. Here it is. This is what we're planning for. This is what we're going to do. But it's not easy. But I'm telling you, you need to change your life a little bit at a time works. He must increase. I must decrease. Now you're going to hear John's motto here, because here I was installed, and I want you to know a little bit what I'm about. And if you know me, I can stand up here and I don't get nervous, and I can do music, and even if I sound bad, I don't care, because I'm here and God's up there, and I'm here for him, and I'm here for you, and whatever happens, happens. And now I'm not the go into the store every time and start saying, hey, yeah, you should have Jesus and all this, and he'll make your life better. And that's not my kind of thing. Everybody has their own thing. I know a lot of people would say that. I want to tell people about Jesus, but it makes me scared. I want to do it. I'm not necessarily that outgoing either. I have a script. If I don't have a script, I'm going to stand up here and be the slightly awkward John that I am, because that's what I am, and it's okay, because that's me. But my motto is this: I don't care who you are, I will tell you it's probably good if you have a little bit more Jesus in your life. That's my motto. That's it. You may have a lot, you may have a little bit. I think everyone in the world can stand for a little bit more of Jesus in their life. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you don't believe in him. That's what I feel. And now I don't need to be very eloquent to say that. I mean, there could be somebody robbing a bank, and I could say, hey, buddy, you need a little bit more Jesus in your life. Or you could be up front preaching a message and get mad because something went wrong, and I could say, hey, buddy, you need a little bit more Jesus in your life. Just the same. Everybody, we're all the same. And so I've mapped out, usually there's points in a sermon. I've said person number 1, person number 2, person number 3. Now, let me tell you, first of all, there's not just 4 types of people. How many people there are in the world right now, that's how many different types of people there are. There's no 2 people the same. They're all a little different. There's people that are similar. So I mapped out like 4 of them. And here, person 1. Person 1 we're going to call never heard of Jesus or just not that interested in him. There's plenty of people like that. There may be even people that they heard of him, but they're like going the opposite way on purpose. That's okay. So what would John say if I ran into him, no matter what they thought? I think you could benefit from a little bit more Jesus in your life. You just could. And they could say, well, I don't know if I believe in that. And I'm against religious people and all that. And I could say, I don't know. We should try a little bit. You might like it. Like, work for me. I can say that. I don't have to be an evangelist or a televangelist or a podcaster or anything. I feel like I can say that. I'm not saying it like, shame on you. You need more Jesus. It's just more like, hey, buddy, I could use more. You could use more. That's person number 1. Never heard of him or just not that into it. Person number 2. I think I believe in God. Maybe even that Jesus came to this earth and died for us. But he's not really part of my everyday life. You know, you kind of get it. I'm just not that serious about it. I may or may not attend church sometimes or regularly. Maybe I don't. But that's just where I'm at. I kind of believe it, but it's not for me most of the time. It just doesn't affect me at all. That's person number 2. What do you think I would tell that person? Well, you kind of believe in him. I think you could probably benefit from just like don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Just a little bit more. Just try a little bit. Maybe say a prayer for 30 seconds every day. I don't know. Just try it. You could use a little bit more Jesus. Then there's person number 3. There's a lot of people in churches that are in this category. I gave my life to Jesus. I'm kind of involved in church. I try to serve my community as often as I can. But there are a few parts of my life, maybe they're hurts and pains, or maybe they're just habits that I don't want to give up, and I don't really want to give them up or give them to God. That's just where I'm at. Like, I really believe it. I really believe it can affect my life in some way, but there's just some things, I kind of think maybe they're wrong, but I'm keeping them. What do you think I'm going to tell them? Think I'm going to say, yeah, you should give up those habits, they're terrible. That's not my style. You know why? Because God will convict you of what you need convicted of. My style is to say, I understand, I got things that I have a hard time giving up, but you know what? You probably use a little bit more Jesus. But that'll help a little bit. And my goal in my brain, in the back, while I'm talking this, is thinking a little bit more today, a little bit more tomorrow, a little bit more the next day, and maybe they'll see that that's not good for them. Not shame on them, that's bad for them, just that that's probably not helping you at all. Just keep adding a little bit more of this good, and maybe we'll push that bad out. It's person number 3. Person number 4 for today. I give my whole life to God. This is probably me. I give my whole life to God. I'm not perfect, but I desperately want to rid my life of things that stand in between me and God, and stand in the way between me and experience the best that God has for me, because that's what it's about, right? To have the best life that I can have that God wants for me. I would like to get rid of the things that stand in that way. I'm not that great at it, just like I took, eating healthy or exercising. I'm not that great at some of those things. There are some things that I'm like, I know I shouldn't do this, but it's hard. I just end up doing it every time. I don't know what it is, but I desperately have the desire. So if I were talking to myself, what do you think I would tell myself? You could use a little bit more Jesus. However much you do now, maybe you get up and read first, maybe I do this. I could probably do a little bit more. Now, what if I decided to go all or nothing and just said, well, I want to get serious about this God thing, so I'm going to check myself into a monastery. I'm going to stay there for 2 years. And that's the only option, all or nothing. Do you think I'm going to be successful? Well, of course not. I have a family, I have friends, I have things. It's not going to work. But you know what I could do? Just a little bit more Jesus in my life. I know I can. It's just a little bit. And I always tell people this. You're like, yeah, but I've messed up a lot, whatever. You know what? I bet you between now and next week, actually, I bet you between now and the next hour, I'm going to mess up. The great news is it's not like we have to go a little bit more Jesus, a little bit more Jesus, a little bit more Jesus. Well, I messed up, I have to give up. That's not how it works. God just looks at you and says, start now, a little bit more Jesus. That's why it's so easy for me to say. I don't go walking around broadcasting or whatever, but if we get into that conversation, that's what I'm going to tell you. I'm having trouble with this, I want this, whatever. I'm going to say just a little bit more Jesus. Now, there's this thing I call facing God. Now, I don't want to embarrass anybody, so I don't need any volunteers unless anybody wants to stand. Does anybody want to stand up here? Probably not. Okay, let's pretend. It's not that hard. Let's pretend one of my children, okay, this isn't a real life event. One of my children is standing right here. Okay, I'm here. There's my child. But let's say they're facing you, not me. And they have a really mean look on their face, like I just grounded them or something. None of my kids have ever been grounded, by the way. But let's just pretend I did, and they're really mad. And it doesn't matter that I got installed today. They're my child, they're 5 feet in front of me, because we're close, because we're family. But they're facing the other direction, and they got this mean, nasty look on their face. Now let's say someone else, not my child, is standing clear over by the doors. Not my child. We may be a little bit close, but we don't know. But they're facing me. And they got a smile on their face. And they're like pointing up there. Like, oh, I'm with him. Like, this is great, right? Who's closer to me? I mean, it's not cut and dry. The person that's physically closest to me, but their back's to me. They're mad at me. Now, maybe that'll pass. Maybe they'll turn around. I don't know. But then there's the person that hasn't known me as long, maybe 100 yards away, and is pointing, is kind of running, and giving that look and face, and it's like, I'm with you, man. Like, yeah, let's go. Really, for something, who's closer? It's probably the person who's facing towards me, who wants to be with me, who's coming in my direction. Think about it. It's what God wants. He wants you to face Him. And however slow you might meander along, he wants you to start walking towards him. May not be fast. You may walk towards him and then fall and walk back, and you may walk back towards him and make some more ground and go back. But that's what he wants. He wants you to face the direction. 1 John 5:11-12 says, "He who has the Son has life." He who has Jesus, even if it's a little bit, has life. He who doesn't have it. See, there's this idea, well, if I become a Christian and if I get serious, then I gotta give up all these things that I like. Like, where did you hear that? It must have been a bad Christian. And I don't mean bad like doing things wrong, because Christianity and being near Jesus isn't about subtraction. It's about addition. It's not about the things that you have to take out of your life. It's about the good things that you never had that you get to put into your life. And that's why I'm very careful not to say you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't do that and it's bad, because maybe they don't agree, and maybe all Christians don't agree on what things you should and shouldn't do. And that's okay, because I guarantee you that if you, even in the distance, look at God, face His direction, and start slowly walking towards Him, some of those things will definitely work them things out. Like, you'll get closer and you'll be like, you know what? That's kind of getting in the way. It's not about me saying you should do that. Shame, shame, shame. You can't do that. Oh, you must not even really be a Christian. I don't know what you're doing. Like, you can't do that. But that's not what God says. He said those who have the Son have life. And they have more life. It's not about subtraction and getting rid of things that you think are bad. It's about adding good, just a little bit more good every day. You know what? You put enough little good things in, eventually there's no room for some of that other stuff, and you won't even care that it's gone. You're just like, oh, well, that's not there anymore. All right, keep going. I know it's not going to be perfect. I know it's not all going to disappear. But that's okay. He says, turn around, face the right direction, get a little bit more Jesus. Just get a little bit more. John 10:10 talks about the thief comes to steal and kill and destroy. But I have come that you might have life and have it to the full, or to the fullest, or abundantly, or to the most. That's what he's saying. I want you to have the best life on earth possible. What did I say? More Jesus equals more life. Pretty simple. I like that math. More Jesus equals more life. See, that's the offer. I offer it to you, not for me, from Jesus. You want more life, get more Jesus in your life. It's not a command. It's not, you shouldn't do this. That's just how it works. You don't want to do it, it's not going to happen. Do you think you're going to come over here and not walk towards him and turn your back towards him, and then are you waiting for the sign where he taps you on the shoulder and says, well, I just made it all better for you anyway? It's not how it works. I don't care if you never knew him and now you believe in him. I don't care if you knew him but you walked away. I don't care if you try to walk with him every day but fail. I don't care if you feel now closer to God than you've ever felt in your life. More Jesus means more life. No matter which one of those you are, no matter which thing in between, more Jesus equals more life. Not just when you die, right now. That's the misconception. You have more Jesus in your life. You live a full life now, not just when you die. I mean, that's a good benefit. When you die, you don't burn in hell forever, or you're just not separated from God forever, which sounds terrible. Right now, you have more life. And every day, until there's no more life on this earth, the closer you get to him, the more Jesus you have, the more life you have. And that's why I believe every person on the planet can use just a little bit more Jesus in your life.
Can we leave? Can we get out of this dome? 30 miles to Galveston, 30 miles and then it's done. And I believed that we had what it would take, but the best laid plans can fail, and the surest levees break and make just mud. Remember us, remember what we used to love. Your laughter kept us warm, and we always had enough.